Ladies and gents, PepperBelly here, and after hours of wading through hundreds and hundreds of servers looking for something that actually wasn't Altis Life or King of the Hill, something that was actually good, something that real grown men played, I managed to find something that was actually pretty good, and it's pretty much Advanced and Secure, which is a solid game type. By any means, by any standards, Advanced and Secure is a phenomenal game type, especially for games like this with vast environments, vehicles, the whole 9 yards. If you're going to have a giant-ass military sandbox game, Advanced and Secure is basically the way to go because it kind of concentrates gameplay-focused areas and proper strategy and real-world tactics. It's pretty much what you would do in real life. You would capture various objectives through the environment that you're, or the terrain, or whichever theater you're operating in. You would have certain milestones or certain objectives you have to basically obtain. And Advanced Secure does a really good job of letting you feel like you're doing exactly that. So, how I went about finding the server is essentially you go into your filtering options and you choose Capture the Island, not Sector Control, because Sector Control relates to King of the Hill and stuff like that. Capture the Island resorts to actually capturing various portions or various objectives throughout the world map. And I remember talking about this a while back in one of my old Arma 3 videos, and I think I actually showed gameplay for that as well. But back in the day, the game type was actually called Blitzkrieg. This was during the actual alpha, the early access portion for Arma 3. This was before it was even released. So yes, alpha, that's what that means, right? And it was easily my favorite game type in the game because it was Advanced and Secure, but it gave you pre-configured loadouts, which is something I still... This game type doesn't give you that, or this particular one here doesn't get... Like, I don't even know what the name is. It's called EUTW. I'll explain that later. I don't know exactly what that means, but it doesn't... Like, if you pick a class, so you want to be a sniper, cool, you'll have a ghillie suit, and it'll give you, like, a certain weapon tailored for that class, but the thing is, you can still go and buy other weapons anyway. Like, there's still a purchasing mechanic, a purchasing system, earning credits for kills, or playing the objective, and stuff like that. Personally, I hate that shit. Like, I hate various game types that let you buy things with credits, because this is fucking war. Alright, I don't see myself going out and buying things with money or credits in actual combat. I am given what I am issued, and I go and fight with what I'm issued. You know, I'm not special ops where I can pick all kinds of crazy shit that I want. And there's nothing wrong with that. I get why people want to be able to have some customization there and earning credits. It kind of balances the game so that people that have jets aren't just getting jets because whatever, right? You have to actually have the credits accumulated to be able to afford buying a jet or buying a 50 caliber sniper rifle or whatever it is. But it's still something I'm not particularly fond of. Blitzkrieg back in the day actually had you with a pre-configured kit, and you could not change it. And that was what I liked. If you had a weapon, if you had the regular MXM or the MXC or whatever the hell it's called, I don't really remember right now, and you didn't have a weapon sight on it, too fucking bad. You had iron sights and you dealt with it. And I preferred that because every single class was actually used very specifically. And what I'm noticing in this particular game type is that there is a ton of long-range sniping because everybody can go and buy a sniper rifle, everybody can buy high magnification scopes, and that's what everybody does. They just lay on hills and shoot each other from that, like, you know, 300, 400, 500 meters, 600 to a kilometer. That's all everybody's doing. There's no real close-quarter engagements or proper urban operations or any of that fantastic stuff that people like me like doing as infantry roles. It just turns into everybody taking pot shots at each other from very, very far away. Now, there are definitely some infantry engagements in close quarters, but the point I'm trying to make is that half the time you're being engaged, you won't even know where you're being shot at because the guy is 800 meters away on a hill. And chances are, if you are like me, when you first start out and you're not really aware of how everything works, you're gonna have a shitty-ass rifle with iron sights. You're not gonna be able to combat that, and you're gonna get killed because there's like 4 or 5 guys on the hill sniping you. So, that's the problem I found with this particular game type here. And I don't like that at all. I like classes that when you pick what you're gonna be, so if you're gonna be a repair specialist, or you're gonna be a machine gunner, or whatever, you're restricted to that class of weapon. So if you're a machine gunner, you only get machine guns. If you're a rifleman, you get rifleman, you know, a standard rifle. If you're a grenadier, you can get a rifle with an M320 attached to the bottom of it. Whatever. So long as it's like you're restricted to what you have, but you can customize it with attachments that you would like. Instead of everybody running around with 50 cals or 9.3mm rifles and shit. Like, it's just ridiculous now. Like, I find Arma lost touch with some of its... I mean, this is really because of the player base themselves and what they want to... what consumers are making, essentially. So it's not really the game's fault. I mean, this is literally what players are doing. This is like how they're scripting their game types and how they're making their games play out. Everyone knows that if you want to have a serious game of Arma 3 or any of the Arma games, you need to join a clan or an outfit or a unit or whatever to play serious games. But I can tell you right now that this particular game type I'm playing, although it's not the best thing in the world, is easily the best I have played in Arma 3 that's publicly available with the stock game. It gives you that experience that you want, and I would compare it very closely to Project Reality. Now, I recently started getting into Project Reality. You guys probably seen my video about a month ago, because I uploaded it a very long time. Anyway, I was really into Project Reality. I put in probably 50, 70 hours. I don't even know. I'm not keeping track. All I know is I've been playing the shit out of that game. And it's phenomenal. It's making me all excited for what Squad can potentially become when that releases. And there are Project Reality mods for Arma. So there was like the Project Reality Arma 2 mod, and then the same developers behind that came out with Tactical Battlefield. Now I haven't actually played it because the mods, it's a little bit more complicated. It's not just like you install one mod or whatever or join a server. It's like you got to get Task Force Radio, you got to get the TAC Battlefield mod, and like various map packs. And it's a little bit more complicated than most people would like, but I mean, if you're really wanting to play that experience, then also you're willing to put the work in. I'm not a fan of having to use TeamSpeak to like with modded, you know, with Task Force Radio just to play. Like I don't know, I'm not into that kind of thing. I probably could do it, but I don't like the idea that I have to just to be able to play the mod efficiently. Otherwise, it's like whatever. I mean, especially when the voice chat, and I mean, it's not going to be simulated as accurately as it would. Anyway, it's like, it's not as simple as Project Reality, is what I'm pointing out. Project Reality, you start it up, you join a game, and you join a squad, and it works brilliantly. That game is phenomenal as a mod for Battlefield 2. Now it's a standalone, so it's like the game is almost like it was literally made that way. You just install it, everything's good to go. It's freaking fantastic, alright? It's super simple. That's the most brilliant part about it, is it's super simplistic. It is not complicated. It's not hard to set up. It's really easy, and that's its biggest selling point, is the fact that it offers realistic, hardcore gameplay in a very, very simplistic way. It's not complex. It doesn't hurt your head to figure out how to set things up. It's just you start the game and you play it. And this particular game type here, which is EUTW PVP WARFARE. I don't know, you could look it up in the server browser if you're interested. Uses the stock game, and it plays wonderfully, and it's super simple. It's got voice chat if you need it, but most people don't use it. Most people are just typing. You can join groups. Pretty sure if you join a group, that's pretty much how you're going to hear voice chat. I haven't joined a group yet. I haven't done that once playing. I kind of just ran around, did my own thing. But there's still a lot to be desired. I would love to see a game type that pretty much mimics exactly the same thing as Project Reality within Arma 3, because Arma 3's engine is so perfect for this kind of thing. Alright, like, I don't understand why there aren't game types that mimic Project Reality in the stock game itself without requiring mods and excess add-ons. Because it would be fantastic to just be able to play a game where it's just simply advanced and secure, with pre-configured loadouts, similar to the way Project Reality works. So you pick your loadout based within your class. So you're not going to be like a freaking machine gunner with a sniper rifle picking up, you know what I mean? So it's like that way there's more teamwork oriented around that. With groups that you can create, which already exists in this particular game type. You can create groups. Simple voice chat. There's a lot of potential here to create something actually good. And I wish I could see it. I mean, if I knew how to do it, I would personally do it myself. If I actually knew how to set up a server, full-time dedicated server, which I mean, I know how to do that, but I don't know how to make actual game types. If I actually knew how to make scripts and stuff and actually create game types and whatever, I would. But I don't. And I honestly have no interest in learning either because it's like super time consuming and setting up a dedicated server is not that easy. And yeah. So I don't know. Like, there's a lot to be desired here, and I felt like Arma 3 has just not fulfilled its potential. And as much as I loved playing the campaign, as much as I loved playing multiplayer back in the day, I felt like even now, like with the new stamina system, it's a hell of a lot more realistic, it's a hell of a lot better. And now that they actually added like the ability to rest your weapon on the ground, like they added a lot of stuff that's pretty great. Except for the fact that these DLCs are like insanely overpriced for what they are, but that's just personal opinion. I still feel like Arma 3 had a ton of potential, and it's just like, it's not quite hitting the nail on the head. Especially how it's like, it's poorly optimized. Like, I'm pretty sure most of you guys are very aware of that. The performance of this, which I can say for this particular server and this particular game type, it runs extraordinarily well compared to a lot of others. Like, even when you play King of the Hill gets really slow when you're inside cities and stuff because of how much it's rendering and processing and all the scripts and whatnot. This runs amazing, but even then, there's so much to be desired from a game like this. And it just makes me hope that Bohemia Interactive, when they're moving forward, when they come out with Arma 4 or whatever they're going to be working on next, I hope they really come up with an engine. They need to just build an engine from scratch. Like, honestly, just give up, just make a new engine, develop something phenomenal, and just work on optimizing the shit out of that game so that every single system is utilizing all the hardware in it, all 4 cores, all your RAM, everything, to give you a phenomenal 60 plus frames per second experience at all times with massive battles on huge scale, battlefields, terrain, environments, whatever. I mean, that's what I would love to see someday. Pretty much Arma 4, same thing as this, but with a better engine running at 60 frames per second and way more fluid gameplay, because honestly, Arma 3 also is a little clunky. I'm pretty sure most of you guys are aware of that. It's like not the best movement. I mean, there's a lot of potential. Like I said, there's a ton of potential in the design of this game. It's just, it's not executed as best as it can be. There's still a lot of potential for what can be delivered with a game like this. I had to ramble on for a long time because this is a ton of gameplay. But, yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you think, guys. I mean, you can try this out. What do you think of Arma? I honestly don't know what most people think of Arma now. I stopped playing it. I started getting into it just because of this game type, but I haven't been playing it nearly as much because of those issues. So I'm curious what you guys think, because I mean, there's other games like Project Reality, there's gonna be Squad, there's Ground Branch, there's a lot of other games out there that do this kind of similar thing, but a little bit better. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys for watching. My name's PepperBelly. I'll see you guys on the next one.